So the title, it was put together at the last minute, the title, because there's different areas to it. But another year on the journey. And the main journey I'm referring to is our life's journey as we move through the various stages of life. And sometimes it can seem a long journey, and other times time just flies. So this journey, this physical, mental, and spiritual journey, body, mind, and spirit, is what our journey is all about, the combined Trinity. Now, it's convenient for us to arrange life into times, like history times. We learn about different ages, the different history, countries and their history. And it's a convenient way for us all to put things together and piece things together. Because many of those people who've gone on before us have given us some wonderful wisdom from their journey, and it's helped us so much more in our daily life. Of course, we can read many books, but we still have to go on that journey ourselves. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, it states, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." I won't read the rest of it, but I suggest if you have a quiet moment, go through that chapter. It's almost as if everything's set out for us, the different stages we go through, and it's very, very wise writing. I do find that it tickles something in me somehow. I just relate to it, and I'm sure you will too. But in it, there's nothing we don't already know, and a lot of it, as I said, will resonate in us as we progress on our journey here from Adam, the man of the dust consciousness, right through to Jesus, representing the Christ consciousness. So, as I said, it's convenient for us to put everything into a time frame. And we're all on the same journey, but we're all at different parts of it. So we're all experiencing a different perspective of this time in our lives. But we're all going in the same direction, whether we know it or not, because everything is regenerated and renewed in its own time when we're ready. As this year comes to a close, we find ourselves in the Advent journey. And this leads us over the next few weeks to Christmas, culminating in, as many religions see, the birth of Jesus, who became the Christ. But in Unity, a New Thought, we see this as referring to us. Metaphysically, it's got another meaning, and not only us, but many mainstream religions are starting to awaken to the truth behind these stories. The story of the symbolism of the three wise men setting off to follow the star of the east, which no one else could see, but they could because they were ready for it. And they ride across the desert in their camels, and we find that this is all very symbolic. It's all about us, our journey to uncover this Christ light which is in us, just waiting to be acknowledged and to be lit. Ernest Holmes, the Science of Mind writer, writes, "We don't come to Earth fully orbed, we're a work in progress." And we are. We're born perfect, we have in us the perfect seed, but we have to work to that perfection, to express more and more of that perfection as life moves us through. And we certainly get tested on the way. And I think most of us have realized that, especially the last 2 years, we have been tested in many, many ways. At the right time, we seek to make conscious contact with this power. It will unfold naturally. And it may not be on December the 25th. It's in our consciousness, not in an outward time, that this journey will be expanded. Will we make it in this lifetime? I wonder, is this a hint about reincarnation? Because this has come across many people many times, and many spiritual seekers, including those in Unity, have written about it. Ernest C. Wilson, my favorite Unity writer, has written about it. The book is called Have We Lived Before? And he goes through a few examples that are still in the Bible that I'm sure when the early fathers tried to erase any connection to it, they didn't quite have the wisdom to take it all out, because there were things there that can be interpreted in the way of reincarnation. Early Charles Fillmore writings talk about it as well. He was quite involved in it, into many things, as most of us here have been. Many other paths have brought us to this point in time where we now have to go inside and do it for ourselves. Now, we've been rushing around for most of us. It's been a year of slowing down. We've been rushing around in the past, but the last 2 years have seen everything change. Our perspective has changed. Our energy has changed, sometimes not for the good, but even so, there's probably a purpose behind this. We've been slowed down. And is there anywhere to go? Well, let's have a look. The sage Lao Tzu, in the Tao Te Ching, 500 years he wrote this before, or preached this before the birth of Jesus. Without stirring abroad, one can know the whole world without looking out the window. Without looking out the window, one can see the way of heaven. The further one goes, the less one knows. I thought that was a bit too deep for me. I thought that's all right for the sage. He can understand it, but I'm finding I'm getting to understand it myself. It's a great book, the Tao Te Ching, but in a similar saying, 500 years later, in the New Testament, Jesus says, I am the door. By me, if anyone enters, they shall be saved and go in and out and find pasture. Jesus is not speaking from his human self here. He's speaking from his I am presence. Here again, is this another indication of reincarnation? I shall go in and out. But while we've got this body here, it's wise to make the most use of it. More contemporary, St. Teresa of Avila wrote the spiritual classic, The Interior Castle. This was made a lot clearer when Caroline Myss wrote her book, giving an interpretation of it. It's made more clearer and easier to understand. It's about the inner path to God and our soul. And there are instructions in it for us. We go within our own body temple. Here again, everything that speakers before about Tzu and Jesus, all implying there's nowhere else to go but go within and seek that inner wisdom. And we've also reached a stage where collectively, this knowledge about inner wisdom and power is more widespread than any other time in history. But we have to test it and demonstrate it and put it into action in our lives. One good saying, there's a lot of sayings come through on Facebook and you get a bit blasé about them, but I've had some beauties this week. And of course, with the storms we've been having, there's a great one there about a storm, which I think Peter and Jeanette from the Oneness Group, I don't know whether you remember them, but they send through a daily saying about storms. And it was just, I'm not going to read it, it was just for me in particular, that particular day. There it was when trees were coming down out the front, the wind was blowing, anything could have happened. And I just had to sit there and I did pray. I was upstairs in my upper room. I've got a beautiful 2 rooms upstairs, and I thought, oh, this would be atmospheric when it came. And I thought, I'll go up here and listen to the sound of the rain on the roof. Well, I looked out the window and this huge cloud, it wasn't up there, it was here. And our town was in the middle of it. And I thought, okay. Then gradually it started. It was amazing. You couldn't shut doors, you couldn't do anything. So I thought, I'm getting out of here. I went downstairs and I thought, I'm much safer down here. Oh, me of little faith. But of course, I heard this tree groan and I thought, where is this going to land? God, keep me safe, keep me protected. And sure enough, it didn't land on the house or the church, it landed on my gate. And it's still there because trying to get tradesmen at this time is terrible. But the man should be here tomorrow and I can get out and get my car and get moving. So that was a test for me to put my faith in action. Anyway, the Facebook, one came through which said, we can be a good Christian, Hindu or Muslim, or a follower of any other religion, but let's be a good human being first and understand what that means. I thought that was a profound statement for now. And it's dawning on many of us that we're all in this together, where we progress into a fuller expression of who we are, the conscious expansion of this power, regardless of the robes, rituals, creeds, and cultures. We're all moving in the same direction. There's a little children's story I read somewhere, I can't find it now. This plane load of people landed and they're all out of their bodies, of course. They'd died, they didn't realize they had died. And they're walking along this little valley of happy blossoms or something. And there's a monk sitting outside his church. And they're coming past and they're speaking to him. And he said, don't you know you're not on the earth anymore? And they said, aren't we? Oh, where do we go now? And he could see that the Christians would go, there was a mountain, and he told the Christians to go that way, and he told the Muslims to go the other way, and the other group to go up perpendicular. And it was very interesting because in the story, the end of it is, they're all going on different journeys, but they all arrive at the top of the mountain, which is where the journey ended, or the start of another journey. But there we are, we're all following the same path, regardless of whatever robes or rituals. Now we have to follow it because Jesus said to his disciples, I must leave you now. So where was he going? He had his journey to do, which didn't include the disciples at that time. They had to go in, but Jesus said, I will leave you the Comforter, which I take to mean find your own inner guidance, and it will be there for you. So here we are at the end of this year, and as that Beatles song says, so this is Christmas, and what have we done? Who would have thought the Beatles would have been modern day prophets? I love it. In a few weeks, we'll make our own plans when New Year comes. But somehow I feel we can expect the unexpected. Perhaps we're on a way to a goal that we have planned, only to be sidetracked by other goals. It may be a year of serendipity. I did a talk on that once and I can't find the notes, they're all down in Melbourne, but I do know serendipity is the gift of finding agreeable things, not exactly thought for, the things needed come at hand at the right moment we need it. It's a great word, serendipity, based on the 3 princes of Serendip, which they believe was in Sri Lanka. And the tales they got up to were very intriguing, and it's believed that Chaucer's Canterbury Tales are based on some of their frivolities and journeys through those magical countries. There's a book in our Unity library when we can get to it, if you'd like to see it. It's called The World of Serendip by Marcus Bach. I think he wrote that in 1970. That was a great read at the time, it really was. So, to the last 2 years, and especially this year, what can we say about it? Well, I'm not going to be talking about it all the time. Not next week, we've got Ros Goldsborough with us, but the week after, we are still in December, and I'm going to ask one or two of you to share your perspective on this year. Generally, though, I feel that I've had time to slow down physically, and I find that when I've been talking to others, it's not just me. All of us have felt a general lethargy about doing things that we should do, tending to put things off to the very last minute. And you know, I worried and worried about certain things this week, even with this talk, and I thought, well, look, it's about time to not worry. I've got enough information from 10 years worth of talks, but I looked at them and I thought, no, I really am going to start again because this year is so different. I'm sure you'll all agree. It's been different from any year I've ever had anyway. And I'm sure that we'll hear from whoever decides to contribute to that last service for the year, that we will find out similar things that have happened to us all. But it's brought home our unity consciousness, our spiritual laws, the ancient wisdom. Here is a time when we're having to use them like never before. Spirit works in mysterious ways. Well, we know it's vital for us to keep up our denials and affirmations and aim to lift the consciousness of the planet. And along with many other people, this is going on all the time. There are places around the world that are meditating for peace and for the upliftment of this planet. And we are grateful for them, and we join them in consciousness in our own way. What a time. As individual expressions of this one presence and one power, what is our concept of it? How big is our God? Deepak Chopra, in his book, The Future of God, argues that we don't need a better belief system of scriptures. We need to rethink our place in the universe itself. We are God in action, and how big is our God? How big is our concept of this? We collectively are the future of God. I don't think too many people want to hear that. And I think that was what was behind in the Gospel of Thomas, where Jesus tells only one disciple things that Thomas couldn't tell to other people. And the other disciple said, what did he say? And he said, if I told you, you wouldn't believe it, you couldn't handle it, there'll be wailing and gnashing of teeth. But I believe that it is, eventually, we are that power. But not only us, we're working with other expressions. Look at us, we're all individual expressions. Isn't it amazing? So it's vital that we come together. And today, being peace, that word just has grown in proportion this week. Peace, peace on earth. And we lit that magnificent candle this morning. Thank you, Leslie. That was a great symbol for us. Together we can have a profound effect. And when Jesus said, 2 or more are gathered into my name, there shall I be also. That means that combined power will be electrified, amplified, and demonstrated. Anyway, I think now we've had enough of me talking about my journey. Let's all go on a journey together. This is a song many of you here will probably know. Rad's put together or found a great version of it. Let's have our journey now And by the way, thank you everybody for listening, and let's live in peace. And we look forward to a prosperous, happy couple of weeks as we go on our Advent journey. Thank you.